Welcome to iNETrepreneur radio show. I am your host, Donna Guinouard. Network Together is joined with their mother company of iNETrepreneur radio show. And this is all about where entrepreneurs share their personal and business professional impact in life. Today, I'm super excited. We have three guests with us. We have Robert W. Jones, we have Dave Schwartz, and we have Tamara Linnan. Today, we're going to be talking about the impact they've made. And I'm excited to bring Robert Jones on. And I would like give you a little introduction about Robert. Robert is a Marine. He's a father of four. He's married. He is highly talented in multiple businesses. And most importantly, he's a visionary. And his vision started Network Together 10 years ago. Robert, welcome.
Thank you, Donna. I appreciate being on the show with you today. And yeah, it's pretty interesting how Network Together started. It started in a little old place called Queen Creek, Arizona. And now it's grown into the largest independently owned, non-franchised networking organization that caters to entrepreneurs. So we're really excited about that. And we have several chapters here in the community. And right now, if you are looking to do business, you can go to ntevents.net. So thank you, Donna, for having me today.
Well, thank you. So we are virtual. Our chapters are virtual. We have how many? We have 15 chapters, and
each week we have at least 16 opportunities for entrepreneurs to go out and network and be seen virtually.
Right. So we have started a whole virtual community, a local as well as.
Well, we're starting a national community as well. So all you entrepreneurs who are in California, Nevada, Thailand, and Hong Kong, come see us.
Jump in. Now is the time. So that's really exciting because in this time of, this is our new normal, right? With the pandemic we have.
Well, I think, what's happened is, have people been scared? Absolutely.
Sure.
Are some of the people living in fear? You bet, But for other people, while some are imploding, others are exploding.
Right.
And what we do in our community is we help, create enough confidence among our members and our leadership to say, while others are, looking to go in, and stay indoors, we're looking to get outdoors through our virtual chapter meetings because business doesn't stop. It just goes to someone else.
That's right. And, our bills keep climbing no matter what. So we look for.
Absolutely. I mean, the car bill keeps coming into the mailbox, the mortgage payments, they still want their money, but you know what? Is your business still thriving?
Right. So just because, if bills don't stop, neither should you.
Absolutely.
So, I agree. Come on board and network us. So I have a couple questions for you. You started networking. Why?
Well, I started networking because when I came here from San Diego, California, I actually really didn't have a client base. And so I thought, well, why don't I go out and join a chamber of commerce and maybe they'd be able to help me. But when I went to that chamber, the executive director actually did the same thing that I did and wouldn't allow me to join the chamber. And I thought, well, that's pretty cruddy. So I struggled here for about a year. And about a year later, a gentleman named Elliot Kahn said, hey, there's this leads group. Why don't you join the leads group? You can meet some other business owners locally. And I said, sure, I'll jump in the game. So I remember going to the restaurant and I walked through the door and I saw the guy standing there leading the group. And it was the same guy who ran the Chamber of Commerce.
Awkward.
And so I was just like, oh, great. Okay. So we locked eyes. He saw me, I saw him, and I thought, oh man, this probably isn't the leads group for me.
Right.
So, in the Marines, I learned to improvise, overcome, and adapt. And that's where Network Together was hatched. It just started with like two other people in a place called the Rhino Cafe in Queen Creek. And it's grown to several thousand people today.
Right. And we do, what else do we, expos?
Well, we have expos. We also have our iNETrepreneur magazine. Today, of course, we have our inaugural radio show, which we're excited to have. We have media events. We provide masterminds. We have women's events. And believe me, even if we can't do them in person, we will do these events also in our virtual Zoom room. So we're really excited about that as well.
We will. So question, what do you say to entrepreneurs right now who are struggling? Because I know that I have a lot of meetings every day. And with what we're going through, what are your top 4 ideas, best advice for them, your golden nuggets?
Well, I would say first, for many entrepreneurs, the first thing is just breathe.
Right.
Just slow down and just breathe. Too many people, they, it's like their mind gets wired, and, I can see it right now. There's just wires and springs going out their head, and they're thinking like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I do it? How do I, satisfy my audience? And the first thing I say is just breathe. Remember that you are valuable, and what is the value that you provide? Let's start there. And the second thing is, there's this little handy tool called Google. And what I love about Google is you can go to Google and you can get on to search. And one of the things I would suggest is see if right now, if there's any places that they could go, like virtual rooms, like what Network Together has.
Right. And,
seeing if they can join into those rooms. Now, I caution you, some rooms may have, propped up or cropped up right now. Be careful of those. Make sure that these are organizations that have been around,
that they're reputable.
You bet. But that would be the second thing. Start to look in the areas where you can actually, join into, so you can be seen and heard through these virtual rooms. Step 3, go to YouTube and get onto some videos and check out some videos on YouTube on how to run a great webinar. Because webinar is a little bit different than in-person meetings. And so the way that you need to dialogue and work with your audience and some of the nuances are much different than in-person meetings, but that doesn't mean you can't sell.
Right.
And lastly, and probably most importantly, call your current clients. Lots of the times, one of the things that we do is we say, where is my business going to come from? When am I going to have that next sale? But the thing that we should be doing most, even in times of plenty, the things that we should be doing most is we should actually be calling our current client base and just seeing how they are and seeing if their needs are being met. Yep. And if not, if you provide that value, that just may be your next sale.
Right. And don't be afraid to try.
Absolutely not.
I mean, just because we are virtual right now, don't be afraid to try, because everybody's virtual. So,
well, and everyone crawled at one time before they could walk, and certainly they walked before they can run. And believe me, for some of us on the Zoom meetings, just 2 weeks ago, I was a Zoom loser. But 16 Zoom meetings later, I'm a Zoom connoisseur. So, it is a great way of, learning. Just, what I say is just, put your boots on, and get out there and do
go with it.
Absolutely.
Go with it. Fail forward, as they say.
Yes.
And there's bound to be some technical difficulties.
That's right.
At least for me, there is. Yeah. Okay. And Network Together. So how many members are in Network Together?
Well, in our entire model, we have about 1,500 members in the entire model of Network Together. And, every day that seems to be growing, because we are actually having a lot of people come through Meetup and our website's SEO, LinkedIn, and the members themselves, in our virtual chapters. But we're continuing to grow. We have several different memberships as well. But what's really great is we have a virtual membership for people to try out Network Together. It's only $99 annually. That's not too bad.
Oh, that's awesome.
But what's really great, I'll tell you what's even better, Donna, is a lot of people who have been in our area and have been Network Together business, in Network Together as a business owner, are actually coming back to Network Together, checking us out and joining in the meetings. I mean, we're getting to see old friends that have been a part of Network Together 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they're signing back up, and they're finding value, in this virtual environment that we have now.
Well, the one thing I like about it is that if we're not able to physically get to a meeting, it's easier to jump on a webinar.
Absolutely. Like I said, I dress really good, but downtown I'm a clown. So no, I'm just kidding. But what is
jammy bottoms?
Yeah. I mean, what is really great is, like, and there's still some things that, we're all attempting to figure out, being seen. And yes, we don't have to drive, but, how do we sell when we're not in person? And what happens if we have physical products, or, in what way can we do demonstrations and whatnot? And I'm sure that there's a lot of learning for all of us. But, again, don't be a victim, be a victor.
Right.
Go out there to the internet and look for the very things that you want to learn, because someone out there's probably already provided a video on it, a white paper on it, or some other tutorial. And that's what I say, be the person that's of action, not the person of reaction.
Absolutely. Don't go into flight and what is it? Fight or flight?
Oh, yeah.
Where you panic.
That's right. Don't be the bird that sticks its head in the ground. Be the eagle, not the ostrich.
Right. Absolutely. So I'm curious, where do you see Network Together going in the next, say, 6 months, in the next year?
Well, I think that, when Sean and I talked about Network Together, some of the things that we were really looking at is, do we want to remain just an in-person? And I mean just disrespectfully. But
right.
Do we want to remain a networking group that only has in-person meetings? Mm-hmm. Networking is changing, and technology has changed so much. Would it benefit us to start having virtual meetings? Well, of course, in the last couple of weeks, we found very quickly that virtual meetings do matter.
Right.
Just like words matter.
Words matter.
And and with these virtual meetings, we found that we can actually express ourselves in a much larger footprint, much faster.
Right.
And we have also felt for some entrepreneurs, especially our storefront entrepreneurs, or business owners, they can make meetings, whereas before, when they couldn't leave their store
Correct.
behind, or they couldn't leave their team behind in the store, they're either at home, or they're working minimally in their stores, but they're able to come online and network with other members of Network Together. And it's been a really great exposure mechanism for them as well, because if we're not traveling as much, how does that voice get heard?
Right.
And so I see Network Together really expanding into being more of a promotion model for exposure and influence, and as David Fagan says, with credibility,
right.
as ICE, principles. So I'm excited about that.
Okay. And what about in, say, 2 years from now? Where do you think it's going to be?
Well, like Ren and Stimpy, we're just going to take over the world in 2 years. So,
I love it.
What we're looking, we're looking at, like, what type of, are we going to license, or we could franchise, how are we going to go into media? Right. So we have, traditional areas, television could be a place that we're going to go. Certainly we want to establish Network Together, not just in this country, but other countries as well.
Right.
And, and I'm excited about all the opportunities that we have right now. Again, Network Together is not about being the victim. It's about how can we be the victors? And, let's take people that are worrying and let's turn them into networking warriors.
Absolutely. And one of the things that Network Together has that a lot of people don't know is not only do we have our advisory board, but we have, in the advisory board, we have an incredible education committee. And everything is planned out with our education committee. They go to our members, and now, of course, it's virtually that we do our one-on-one classes.
Yeah, and I want to say thank you to our the chairperson of our education committee, Katie Evans. She is a former teacher, certified teacher, and she is amazing at setting up the workshops, and she's an amazing trainer for even people like me. Right. I'm almost untrainable, and if she can train me, boy, she can train anyone. So I'm really happy working with her. But what's really crazy about Network Together is it's not just about passing around a tip bucket.
Right.
We have an education committee because we believe for entrepreneurs to truly succeed, not only do they need to earn, but they need to learn and learn how to earn. And, the most successful entrepreneurs out there are the ones that can master all three of those.
So Katie is our guest next week.
Is she your guest?
Yes.
Great.
So
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about having her on board. But we go into our presentations.
Yeah.
Our commercials. We need to learn how to adapt to a different group, right? So my presentation to a business clientele is not the same as a group of mothers.
Well, and what's even crazy in Network Together as we, navigate from being an in-person meeting, it's far different presenting in a virtual room than it is into an in-person room. And,
Right.
And I think that we're learning a lot in that manner as well.
It is. And, and it's okay to just relax and just go with the flow.
Well, I think people look for energy.
Oh, absolutely.
And people who put a lot of energy and passion in what do they do, they're the ones that create attraction. In my forthcoming book called, How to Get to Know, one of the things I talk about is what are the steps that get you to know someone? Because we always talk about know, like, and trust, but, how do you start that process? Well, the first thing is, look like someone that captures that attention, and then say the things that create that attraction.
Right.
And now in this new world that we're in now, it's more important than ever to be able to convey who you are and what you do, through telephoning and teleconferencing and Zoom rooms.
And Zoom. Yeah. Yep. Zoom has exploded in business.
I know. I gotta run to the bank and get some Zoom stocks.
Get some more Zoom. Okay. So where I know that we've in Network Together, we've had to postpone some of our events, like everybody, across the country, the world over. But tell us about the iNetwork Expo.
Well, the iNetwork Expo actually started from something. I'll go back a little bit of history.
Okay.
I was really fascinated because one day I was watching some videos and I saw this thing called a flash mob. And, a flash mob is where, all these people just kind of converge together in a time and space or place.
Right.
And I don't know, they were like twerking and jerking and kneeling and praying. I don't know what. It was just some crazy stuff. And I thought, well, we're networking, why can't we create our own mob?
Right.
And so I said, I thought to myself, why don't we just create a flash mob? And then I was like, well, we're networkers. Why don't we call it a net mob?
Net mob.
Well, that worked out pretty well, and a lot of our members really liked it. But my wife, Shawn Jones, the CEO of Network Together, she just could never get over the word mob. But she's like, you guys are not a mob. I mean, it's like, I don't know if she was visualizing a bunch of people with, chains and pitchforks or something, ready to burn something down. And she's like, we have to come up with something that sounds better than net mob. And so, through some different studies and some surveys, we came up with the idea of why don't we have this premier event called the iNetwork Expo. And what we would do is we would invite all the chapters and all the members of Network Together, and open it up to the public so we could just come together and do business, create connections, create affiliates, create partners, but for me, most of all, just have fun. Mm-hmm. Just have fun getting together.
But there's a lot of content. There's a lot of content with the expos.
Yeah, I mean it's involved since the first day that we ever had that first net mob.
I remember the net mobs.
Yeah, and they were kind of mobbly, weren't they? But we've organized it a little bit different. So it's part information from world-class speakers. It's having local panelists that come in. You might have marketing. You might have how to set up a JV. You might have, living a healthier life, learning what to do with your wealth. Now it might be how to, create a great Facebook group and learn how to network digitally. There could be even new panels that we have. But, it absolutely has. But we have exhibitors in the room and, everyone's welcome. And our expos are also non-drinking events.
Yes.
Our fifth pillar is service to our youth.
Yes.
And we really advocate to our members and guests, if their kids are well behaved and they have an interest in being an entrepreneur, bring them to our events. We want them to see what entrepreneurs do.
Absolutely. Start them young.
Absolutely.
Start them young. Well, Robert, thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
I appreciate it being a day. I look forward to this being just an
too.
Awesome radio show.
Yay. And yes, we have hand sanitizer.
Yes, we do. We do. And let me see. We had a commercial break here.
Yes.
And so, and this is our first time. So we're just having a little fun. But our commercial is we are open for business and you are too. Network Together is hosting daily virtual chapter meetings, giving business owners and entrepreneurs a platform to meet, collaborate, and present their story. This platform provides a valuable way to bring exposure, credibility, and revenue to thrive in this virtual economy. So go to network. I'm sorry, I'm thinking NetMob here. I got this NetMob on my mind. Go to ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net, where our doors are open
Absolutely.
for you to get business done.
Yay.
Thanks,
Thank
Donna.
you. Okay, so our next guest is Dave Schwartz with Best Light Media. So I have met Dave through Network Together, and he's also serves on the board of Network Together in our media. And he is an expert at what he does. I know when I have questions, call or text him, and he'll help me through it best he can. I'm a little electronically challenged on some things. Dave, welcome.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
So, how do you see business changing in media?
Well, the current virus situation has certainly offered some challenges as far as media is concerned. I mean, much of the small business out there really want to market themselves, but it's hard to shake a hand when you're in lockdown. So with every challenge comes opportunity.
Right.
So it's
Adapt
as easy.
and overcome.
It's as easy as a computer and a microphone. You can put together a little show and talk a little bit about the things that are important to you. And of course, that would be as you refer to me, as a subject matter expert, whatever you're an expert into.
Right.
So every business owner has got to be an expert. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a business owner, or at least not successful.
So let me ask you this, especially in this time when we have a lot of small entrepreneurs, mom and pop companies who've never expanded in this area.
Yep.
Where would you tell them to go to get the tools to learn to be comfortable in doing a broadcast?
Well, to learn to be comfortable, certainly on YouTube, there are plenty of videos out there that talk about what it takes to put together yourself, put together you, in essence. You're going to go through the same bumps that everybody does. Nobody likes your voice on audio.
You have to learn to ignore that.
and certainly video can be scary even the first time they see themselves online too, but eventually there's a certain comfort that's achieved, and then the message comes out, and that's the important part, the authenticity of the message, and a person who's speaking with credibility on a variety of subjects. It really doesn't matter what the subject is. If you're a business owner, you're a subject matter expert.
Absolutely. So is there an outline that you would give them?
Well, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be overly, I won't say overly professional. That's not true. It has to be as professional as you can make it, but that doesn't mean Warner Brothers. Okay, that certainly isn't the goal on the very first attempt.
And have fun.
You absolutely want to have fun. There's got to be a sense of joy in what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, that certainly, it chimes through on every video that's ever made. People see the joy in your eyes and the smile on your face, and that's what it comes down to.
Okay. Yeah. So tell us about your business.
Well, we've been in business for about 3 years, a formal business. We've been doing video for much longer than that, 5, 6, 7 years. We were I won't say that we were a solution in search of a need. That wasn't it at all. My counterpart, my wife, Sally, she's a dental assistant, and she was at the dental convention and had some time to really explore, and ended up in a seminar that talked about media in the medical community. And they said, show the hands, how many dentists out there are using video to market their practices? 3 hands go up.
Oh, wow.
Clearly a challenge there. Clearly a challenge. Well, we've been already doing videos. We've got all the equipment, and we have the insight on as far as the line of business. So it seemed like the challenge was obvious, and we had an easy insight as far as the solution. So that's what kicked us off.
Okay, because I know that you do all the videoing for Network Together, for the expos that we put on.
Yes.
Yes. And what all does that take for you to get everything and put together?
Well, that's some challenges. I mean, most of the commercials and the commercials and
that's a loaded question.
Right? Most of the time, it's the speakers aren't working. Yeah. We can't hear.
And how much do you have to control?
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the microphones go dead.
No, from a video perspective, we'll spend, let's speak of an iNetwork Expo. We'll spend an entire day out there, and maybe we'll film the 3 or 4 panels that are going on. Each panel is maybe 45 minutes. So we'll take 45 minutes of video, speaking specifically of one panel, and we'll turn it into a product. That product, although it takes us 45 minutes to an hour to film, we have another 10 hours behind the scene, that getting the audio right, making sure some music's involved, getting all the graphics in place. It's a bit of work. There's a lot of behind the scenes work in video, but it's the nature of it. It's fine.
And who are so everybody out here knows, who are some of your other clients that you work with, so that they get a better understanding that, if they're needing your services, that you can help them.
Well, you're going to challenge me. I got to name names.
I know. How about industries?
Yeah. Well, we certainly serve some of the Network Together community. There's been a couple of clients we pulled out of Network Together. Pull being a bad word, not exactly the way I would want to phrase it.
That you've done joint ventures.
Cloud Friday. We've done Cloud Friday. As far as joint ventures, right now we're doing a cooking show, Grill's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
That's an online show. We've put together, I think at least 28 episodes. You have to search it out. You can find the episodes online. That's a big production in itself. It eats up a lot of time for us. And we pick them up along the way. We've done a couple of dentists, local dentists, and we've done chiropractors and acupuncturists.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you do anything from small to large events, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. We started with the idea, the concept of sticking to the medical community, but it grew, and it grew naturally. It grew from voices
Very
reaching in and
organically.
saying, yeah, hey, we've got a challenge here. Can you help us? And that's what it's about.
I love it. Now, where can you be reached for your business?
So you can reach me, Network Together.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. We are all in Network Together, okay? And we have a habit of saying that.
Certainly through networktogether.net. That is absolutely true. You can find me there as well. But bestlightmediaaz.com. That is the website. We're easy to find.
Okay.
Close as the web.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Yay. So our last guest today is none other than Miss Tamara Linnan, and she is with the Starving Dog. So she has so much insight and so much behind her that she has done. I'm still learning everything that she's done. But she has a passion to work and help people with getting her message out there. Tamara, come on over. Welcome.
Hi.
Yay.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yes.
How are you?
So tell me a little bit about the Starving Dog.
The Starving Dog came about, my mother took her own life when I was 8 years old. And so I've done a lot of work in the suicide realm since I was about 13. And I worked in a YWCA women's shelter for a while for domestic abuse. And I noticed when we would approach these women and say, you're in a toxic marriage and these things, they got defensive and they almost got closer to these folks. So I created the story of the Starving Dog, which you guys can go check out later on the Starving Dog page. I tell them the story about this dog that's on a farm, and the farmer is starving it to death. He kicks it. He's mean, but there's no fences on the property. And you couldn't figure out why that dog doesn't leave that situation. And so what happens is, as the dog is getting ready to, have enough and bite the owner who's doing that, the owner tosses him a big juicy steak. That dog is so hungry, he eats it up, and he thinks, oh, they're going to give me what I need now. And the dog stays, and it starts all over again. And when we started telling that story, by the time we were done, these women were already thinking about situations where they were the starving dog, whether it was work or personal, and then kind of letting them recognize for themselves they're in a bad situation. And so we just use a lot of stories to bring down, people's walls so that they could make healthy decisions for, their life going forward.
Awesome. How long have you been doing this now?
The Starving Dog's been running since 2014. I didn't do anything major with it until about 2 years ago when I was in the hospital for 11 months. I decided that I was going all in. I've been writing my whole life, so I got my book published. I started The Starving Dog. And last year we were able to pay for mental health services for 300 people. So that's really important. Now, when I say pay, we didn't write a check the whole time, but I'm really good at stalking people to give us volunteer hours. So it's about that to make that happen.
Right.
So.
Right. Making the marriage, if you will.
Absolutely.
Making the marriage. Okay. And so is it just, is it children too who are in this domestic situation, or is it just the adults that you're helping?
Well, the domestic was the YWCA. Now we help anybody, but a lot of veterans.
Okay.
We seek out teen cutters. I was a teen cutter. And so you're just trying to get everybody. It's not as simple as the depressed person going to counseling.
Right.
So we want to ensure that the entire family and environment is looked at. And that means working with other organizations.
Yes.
And make sure, because it's never just about
One person.
fix the depressed person.
Right,
If that makes
right.
sense. There's always a bigger problem.
Absolutely. Even in my own business, I tell people who, if you have a family member who is sick, it could be cancer or whatever, and they're having a hard time and their energy is very low. It doesn't just affect that person. It affects the entire dynamic. And that's where, I can come in and help, because people don't often realize it's that domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely that domino effect. So in the veterans, what other ways do you help with the veterans? What else are you doing with them?
Well, we volunteer a lot. I work with other nonprofits that, like there's a great one called Canaries and Canines. They have about 300 acres outside of San Diego where they house homeless veterans and help get them, off the street as well. And so we just try to connect resources as much as we can. We've taught resume services, just things like that for veterans who, there's a program called the Caregiver Program. And if a veteran was injured overseas, because of the shortage of healthcare, they pay the spouse to take care of the injured veteran.
Oh, okay.
But that now creates a patient caregiver situation, and it's really bad for marriages. And so, we would go in and go to those types of workshops and, help people, figure that out. And they have great support groups and stuff. But just any way possible, to get out there. We try to, we have the Starving Dog, but we have a business called Front Office Solutions. It's a dispatch company. I started in 2008. That company is now a 501(c). We only hire chronically ill veterans or their immediate family members. So now for us, getting them employed is our main focus.
Okay. And so everyone out here knows what you do with that. Go into a little more detail if you would.
With Front Office Solutions?
Please.
Well, basically it's a job. So Front Office Solutions is a call center and dispatch center, but we do a little bit differently because answering services aren't helpful by nature. And so we become an extension of the company. The phone gets answered as they get answered. If it was a chiropractor, we work with a lot of those, where we can run their insurance. You act as if you're an hourly employee. But we do it at a fixed flat rate so that small business owners can afford to grow. Because everybody needs help before they can afford it.
Right.
And so through that now, we're able to, when we get clients, and nobody takes a paycheck out of Front Office Solutions anymore, we're able to employ veterans. So when, companies use Front Office Solutions, they're directly employing somebody in their community.
I love that.
And it's our goal in the next 2 years, and I know we'll be able to do it with Robert, and have that be the largest employer of veterans in the state of Arizona in the next 3 years is our goal.
That is hugely important, because we have, we all know that the veterans are having trouble being employed, versus, with medical problems, what have you. But also they have, unfortunately, in some ways, I see a stigma with that. And for me, it's heartbreaking. My father was in the service for 45 years, so I understand the service quite well. But just because that they have some stigma issues, maybe they have whatever, does not mean that they're not employable. And part of the problem is, to me, I see that recurring cycle where they're not employable and nobody wants to give them a chance. And my gosh, they've sacrificed everything for us.
Absolutely. I noticed that when I was in the hospital, For the 11 months I was in there, I went through like 32 roommates. What I noticed was there was a lot of people checking out against medical advice because they couldn't afford to lose their job because they were sick.
Mhm.
And so, I decided I want to do something about that. So we have our business model set up where even if they're sick or in the hospital or can't get to an office, we keep them employed because we do web chats. They might be just answering emails. Like we make sure that they never have to make the choice between employment and health.
So you adapt the work for their situation.
Absolutely. And we sign them clients that
Right.
work with their situation.
I love that. I love that with where they're at. And then when they get out of the hospital or what have you in a better place, then they can go back to what they were doing before.
If they choose to. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Mhm.
Awesome. And what is the website where everyone can reach for veterans and for starving dog so that, because I don't think enough of us know about what you do in reaching out for entrepreneurs, small businesses who need help. But like you say, can't afford, to hire somebody in full time.
Absolutely. Well, the best way to get a hold of us for Office Solutions and Call Responders. Call Responders is our little umbrella company that we use with Network Together. Really is to reach out to myself on Facebook, Tamara Linnan, or reach out through the Network Together website, and they'll be able to track me down. To do that. So our .org site's not up quite yet. So the
Okay.
best way to get a hold of me is either on Facebook, my personal page. It's public. I'm everywhere, or through Network Together because we're joint services
Right.
with Network Together.
Doing a
Make sure-
joint venture.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So these are my 3 incredible guests today. All work, of course, Robert owns Network Together. Dave is a board member and does our video. I myself am a board member and a facilitator with Network Together. And I would suggest if you are on the fence about whether you want to see what we're all about, jump in. We have meetings all the time. It's ntevents.net. Friday, tomorrow, 12 to 1 is Scottsdale's meeting. And that, of course, is virtual as well. And we have a 7-day trial for you. 7-day trial for you to come on board and virtually, let's do business. Bills don't stop. So you know what? You shouldn't either. So we are in this to win it and do it together.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to share. I had never done webinars before. Like, would sign up for them, not go to them. But with the way the things have changed, like I am signed up for 12 chapter meetings next week. It's absolutely amazing. And so if you can't get out, or can't now, but even before, right? I'm chronically ill. It's really a game changer for the business. So I really recommend folks go on, the website and sign up and do that, because I went from never doing it to like all in, and I already can see the new connections coming in because of
The
that.
impact. And we can all have one-on-ones virtually. I've had several of them.
And I pay more attention. So when I go to networking meetings before, you're drinking your coffee, you're on your cell phone, people tend to make eye contact during webinars. And so I'm finding better connections.
Nice. Well, I want to thank you all. Thank you for being here with us on our iNETpreneur Radio.
Our inaugural
Cut
episode.
the ribbon.
Yeah.
Pop the cork.
We are super excited that you could join us. And next week, same time, same place, and we will have Sean Jones. She is the CEO of Network Together. We will have Katie Evans, and we will have...
You can have me again.
He is, okay, first of all, he's a ham. So he'd be on every episode. He is my co-host, but he's often busy, so he can't always make each and every one. But so we have several guests lined up. Don't want to miss this. Please come on board, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for being with iNETpreneur Radio. Have a great week.